Welcome to The Artist Politic. Today we're with Perry Porter at Life on Mars. He's a visual artist and MC. We talk about the role strong women play in his work, mental health, and finding his place in the art world. Perry Porter.
What up?
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course, I'm going to ask you about Bobby Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your most recent record,
Yep.
and it's decidedly multidisciplinary, right? You're like, seems like you're going at it. Of course, it's an album. It's a hip hop record with you as the MC, but it's also showcasing that you are a visual artist as well. So you've been doing the hip hop thing for a long time.
Yeah, a very long time.
But but the art part, the visual art part of it is a newer.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot newer. It's obviously about last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So were you thinking at the beginning of the art part of it, were you thinking that these things would meet up together? Was that always kind of the plan? Or did it just sort of happen?
It actually wasn't. It was to keep them separate.
Really? Like decidedly separate?
It was, I was a part of a group at a point, so I wanted to just focus on just being a painter and not like, because I just knew just being a discipline and trying to do stuff, trying to balance yourself or trying to make your image too much for people would be too much to handle.
Yeah.
So I even knew at that time a lot of people even were advising me not to try to do both. So I really wanted to keep it separate so that people would actually respect me as a painter, and then I could just do a rap thing on the side.
Oh.
And then
So people advising you to not try and do both. What was that rooted in? Like what's the fear there?
It was like marketing. The fact that people just are going to be confused. Are you a painter or a rapper? You have to be just one thing at that time.
People can't handle.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't want to manage me at the time for it, so it was really weird.
Yeah.
Really, really weird, but.
Yeah. Do you think, is there like a perception that if the art world knows that you are a hip hop artist, they won't take you seriously?
I would say, yeah. I would say that. It even kind of is that way. I know that when musicians or especially rappers find out I do paint, they love it so much more. And then when I'm in the art world, I don't even really bring up the music that much.
Really?
So, yeah. It really is a weird stigma for being a hip hop artist or generally just being a black person in contemporary art. Is it?
Yeah. I like that you're going straight into that. Right. I have that line of questioning later, but shoot, man, let's get into it, man.
Oh, yeah.
What is it like? Because you've been in the music scene, the hip hop music scene for, like we were saying, a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you feel pretty comfortable in that community, right?
Yeah.
And now you're doing the painting thing, and I would imagine it is a very different community.
It is. I'm still trying to figure it out because I'm honestly feel like I'm more in like the graffiti world still right now. A lot of my friends are graffiti artists, and they're still trying to break their way into the contemporary world as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just a lot more like closed conversations. They're like exposing a lot of the resources to us. So a lot of that stuff. And with the hip hop community, there's so much more people trying to help the younger cats out.
Yeah.
And they don't really see that in the art world that much. It's when people find they've got their ways, they don't want to let anyone know anything of how they got it. So it's
interesting. I don't know much about the visual art world, but that's how, from the outside looking in, that's how I've always thought it was, you know, like the fancy galleries, and it's impossible to get in because they're gatekeepers and they have ideas of what art is or isn't.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. I said even now I'm still kind of like in an underground art world. Like, there's still too many worlds to that. It's really confusing. It's really it's so much mysteriousness to how things are moved, even how they price stuff. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But
I'm sure it's a lot to figure out. Yeah. Well, you were just saying that the part of the art community you're a part of is, maybe more the graffiti culture kind of thing. But for the people that don't know, your medium is largely watercolors, right? Which is maybe as far away as you can get from, spray cans, right? Yeah. What drew you to that medium?
I think it was really like the fact that you couldn't completely control it. I liked that it was like almost dancing with the medium. Like you could manipulate it to do certain things, but that's just about it. And just loving the water aspect of it. Yeah. I know when I first got into it, because I needed like some album art, and I had kind of the visual idea of it. I just really wasn't even familiar with watercolor at that time. Yeah. And I seen an artist named Laura Zombie who does watercolor, and that just turned me out and just got my brain turning. And then I just went on Amazon, bought a bunch of shit, and was like, let's get it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. That's cool, man. So before you made that Amazon order, had you even picked up a paintbrush?
No, I've like drawn my whole life. I'm really into anime, but I've never painted ever before that. So I didn't know anything about any of the oil, acrylic mediums. I didn't know anything. Like, it was completely new to me about 7 years ago, and I just really used all this discipline I have from just making music and all that, and just kind of applied it to the art stuff. So.
Yeah, right. What were those first paintings like?
Oh man, they really just looked like drawings. Yeah. Just drawings, a little bit of color of them. I was like really afraid at first to just let it just do what it does, because with watercolor it can get really messy and very, very left field really fast. Yeah. So it was just always learning that. So it just took a lot of time to me, like letting go of all the control. So yeah, first ones were very controlled centered. Like they did not look like anything now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you embrace that. You embrace the messiness now, and you enjoy the lack of control?
Yeah, because that's like my actual life. I really am a very free-flowing kind of a person, so it was just applying it more to the art, and it's kind of worked out now. Even to now, it's spilled over on both sides a lot. So
I was going to ask, like before you started painting, how did you approach your hip-hop side of things? Were you... Were you embracing of the? Yeah, you're embracing of the.
I don't write any of my lyrics down, so I kind of like walk around the room and freestyle and whatnot, because I feel like I can do it that way. I'm not feel like I'm reading something. I can just be completely lost in the music. So now that's what I'm trying to even approach that with paintings and stuff now. So I've always had that approach with art. With music, where I've just kind of let the music just happen. I never really thought too much about it. Yeah. Because through high school, I did the whole discipline thing, learning how to do the bars and learning how to do all the multiple syllables and all that. So it's just have fun now. You've had the hard part, you taught it like school, like you're a professional now, or treat yourself like a professional. Just have fun. So.
Who was teaching you that early on, kind of more rigid?
It was my friends. Like, I got more into beats, but then I hung out with like a lot of guys who were really into like underground rap. So one day they just heard me rapping, and they're like, you have a really cool voice. They gave me a bunch of CDs and just like kind of just taught me. And they were like really the guys who, if they got 30 beats, they're gonna write 30 beats that day. I used to think that stuff was insane, but it it really did help discipline a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. And what was that process like, kind of? Because I kind of know a little bit about this. Like, I went to jazz school. I went to Cornish down the street.
Okay, dope.
And so I'm a trained jazz guy, and there's a lot that comes with that, right? Yeah. But then at some point you have to break away from that training. It's like you have that background and that structure, but then at some point you have to break away and become an artist for yourself. What was that process like for you?
With the music, it was so much easier because I never really thought about it. I went to school. I was in band, so I did like drumline and all that stuff. But I was like the bad kid, so I never really took it serious. But I did it all through grade school, so like the music was always kind of just embedded.
Oh yeah.
So I just think from the fact of just kind of being a just bad, reckless kid, it kind of just, I always had the thing where I kind of wanted to break the rules a little bit. But I always just had the stubbornness. I still wanted to be one of the better kids in the class. Even though, I'm gonna still do it my way. So just music-wise, it just always happened. And then I just had to actually see myself with the painting thing, where I was realizing I just couldn't escape letting the watercolor do its thing and stuff. So that took a lot more time. It took me just forcing myself to paint in days where it was just a bunch of shitty paintings.
Right. Yep, part of the process. But now I can vouch for them. They are not shitty.
Thank you.
Graduated to not shitty paintings. No, they're beautiful, man. They're so, I love them so much. They're so great. Many of them feature women, feature the female form in all kinds of different ways. But as far as I can tell, it's a good number of your paintings feature women. Is that a conscious thing? Do you have strong women in your life?
Yeah, I have really, really strong women in my life. My mother, she's like, at one point she was a single mother, so she's always just kind of rolled like that. My sister's been a single mother pretty much her whole life, so I've watched that.
Yeah.
And I have 7 nieces, so I've been an uncle for almost 18 years now. Yeah. So I've been an uncle since I was 9, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty much, so like, just always having women with huge personalities who are very unapologetic, and that's just what I'm just used to and love. So I love women who are gonna just say what they want, like wear what they want, do what they want. And I just really wanna push that. Just said, having nieces, I understand the importance of me being a male and being in their lives. And like, I don't have to tell them how to be women, because that's not my job, but just know that I do appreciate them and what they do, you know, so. Yeah. In America, I feel like there's not many people who could understand their struggles much, you know, like Black women go through more than I feel like anybody has. Yeah. Because I know as Black people, I know a lot of males, we like to talk about that, but we don't talk about how they are the backbone of a lot of the community and shit, so. Yeah. So that's important. And just seeing how it's resonated with even just my nieces, my mother, or just people who are coming to the art shows, you know, like them finally getting to see a representation of themselves, you know, so it's cool. Or even just white women of color, they still see that representation in themselves. You know, it doesn't have to just be a Black person who sees it, which is awesome. So.
What do you think when they see that, what do you think resonates with them?
I think it's like the imperfections. I don't try to make it seem perfect, but it seems like everyone always brings the fact they like that every woman seems like they're very emotional in painting, but they seem very strong. Like they're holding it together, but they've been through a lot of stuff. And I just feel like that is something that every woman I definitely feel like can relate to. Yeah. You know, there's levels to it all, of course, but I definitely feel like that's something in America we all resonate with, that we have this thing of covering up what we're dealing with, but yeah, you know, so.
When you're at art shows and you have, you know, women connecting with your art and maybe you're mingling around, talking to people, what kind of stories come out? Like, does that bring out like emotions and stories from the viewers?
Yeah, there's been a few. It's more just giving praise and respect. And actually, that's another thing of, I love the way you capture women. You're not trying to make them look like the American standard, beauty standard or whatnot. Yeah. And then there's certain ones where a couple might see themselves in the painting, and then they talk about that, or I want to get this for my girlfriend, or I want to get this for the wife, and they'll go into a story how they see their actual wife or something, or their sister in that painting. Yeah. Like, this looks like my cousin, so I want to go buy this for my cousin. Right. So that's always the coolest part.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. So what have you learned from this newfound painting passion and career? What have you learned there and been able to apply it to your hip hop life?
How important representation is, how many people are just paying attention to your life in general. I just know that, like, I'm not a very, besides just posting stuff online, I'm not a very like open person. But just knowing that people are watching and that I am in a position where people do look up to me. So I have to be aware of the things I do, or even the things I create, and knowing that I do have a purpose with it.
Is there pressure there? Or do you enjoy that kind of
I enjoy it because it keeps me, like, I feel like a better person. It keeps me more well-rounded and just more open to stuff. And I'm not really afraid of kind of who I am. And I feel like that's kind of where people gravitate is. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. Like, so it's just a funner challenge to just be a better me, I guess you could say. Like, yeah.
It's a good place to be. Shoot, man.
That's great, man.
That's awesome. So let's talk about this record. So it's a full-length record. The artwork and the packaging and everything is very representative of your visual art influence in life at this point. But let's talk about the music side of it. Is there a through line of a theme going through all those songs, 12 songs?
I guess you could kind of say, though. I guess the underlying real theme of the project for myself is it's just like me coming to age of being an artist, like an actual artist, making a living doing it. But I take pride in it. I was kind of raised by a lot of like drug dealers and stuff like that, and quote unquote hustlers, or people who've learned ways to just making money against odds and stuff like that. So that's even another underlying thing is this is my persona of, if you don't have to look up to a dope dealer, you can look up to an art dealer. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's different ways to make money, but still keep it within the hip hop community of being a hustler. So that's more of the underlying tone of the album.
Yeah. Cool. And then as part of the album artwork, you've assigned like a color wheel to each song, and so each track has its own color and kind of description. Describe like how that came about. And
oh man, it was a lot that came through it. I've always kind of had the concept. It was a larger concept at one point where I wanted to make EPs that were based on each color, but I just knew that would just take up a lot of my time. I was just going through, when I do albums, I like make lists and ideas of just so many different concepts and just ways of kind of playing with the music. And one day I was just studying some color theory stuff, and I was just looking, I was like, oh man, there's 12 colors in there, and I finished 12 songs, and I just kind of looked at it, and it was already in the same format. So I was like, oh man, maybe if I just had to switch, I think I switched maybe 2 songs.
Really?
So I was like, oh yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Just like fit. That's amazing.
And then just going through the songs a little bit more and just kind of like making sure, so like there's a song called Bust That, and it's the yellow song. So I would just visually watch a bunch of yellow things while playing that song to make sure it fit for me. So,
do you think you have, what's synesthesia?
I like looked into it. I don't think it does, because it's so much more complex.
Is it?
Like, look, they have like even like colors already assigned for even like different notes, and it gets really, really complex. But I just feel like this project let me know that I just am more in tune with the rapping and painting side of things, more or less than the, what's it called? How do you say it?
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia. Like so,
that's not an easy word to say.
So I feel like in the songs are more, I guess, more of the mood of what the color brings, and actually visually seeing the colors.
You ready for the lightning round?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yes. If you could paint a permanent mural anywhere in the world, where would you put it?
Oh man, I think it might have to be on a pyramid or something. I think that'd be cool.
That's solid. What do you think it would be of if you're gonna mural a pyramid?
I got 2. One, it would be fun to do emojis, because I just had a conversation with my friend and we were talking about how it's very ironic how emojis and hieroglyphics are kind of almost the same thing. Or like turning into the same thing.
Right.
So that would just be just funny for doing. But I would probably just do some wild, just free flow, Perry Payne stuff and just see what happens. It'd be cool to make some mess stuff and then kind of see eyes and stuff from planes and whatnot if you're flying by it. So but the emoji thing would be fun.
That would be awesome. Well, let's look into it, see if we can make it happen. How does Bob Ross know that the trees are happy?
Because he smokes a lot of weed.
How does Bobby Ross know the trees are happy?
He smokes even more weed.
What's the best creative lesson you've learned in the last 5 years?
Don't overthink shit, for sure. And like, I would say the people, like, I don't really believe in writer's block. I just like, or like even the creation block, you just make stuff, and then that time where you like feel like you have it is like your genius. So that's another thing for myself. If I've gotten to where I can create every day and I'm okay with what I'm creating, just because I know I'm pushing for that moment to have that genius, and that would be that one I'm into. So those are the 2 things.
Who are 2 local painters the world should know about?
She's already kind of famous. Christina Mendez, she's doing her thing. She's from Tacoma. She's really big online, but I feel like people don't know that she's the local artist. And she does a lot of amazing things. I say my boy Afro. He's really ambitious, really, really, really ambitious. It's nice to say he's one person who I see creating every day, nonstop. He finds different ways. He'll put shows together, so he's another person I feel like the world should be paying attention to a lot more.
Okay. What music do you listen to while you paint?
It depends. Sometimes it gets really ratchet, some folk music. Sometimes it's some bossa nova stuff. I really like bossa nova. I don't understand anything they're saying, but man, that stuff gets me in the groove.
Yeah.
And I sometimes get like into really like horror kind of sounding jazz music. My girlfriend hates when I play this shit, but it's just so crazy to me. Interesting. I know, what's the guy's name? Man, I forget the name now. I had to come back to that.
Okay.
But yeah, just
like
really
some,
creepy.
like some 60s like free jazz shit?
Yep.
Cool, man. Fantastic lightning round. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's great. You have spoken publicly in some interviews about being manic-depressive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're all right talking about that stuff, I think it's super interesting. And can you just get into what that means? What does that mean for your day-to-day life? What does it feel like to be in a manic state?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's like two people. It's more of like the same day, but more like night and day, I guess you say. I could go through a few weeks where I just feel like the shittiest person, and I like really will reflect on just the last few months, and it's mostly after like what I would say are my Leo moments, where it's like I'm really super confident, I'm really into everything I'm doing, I'm like in this super high, and then I get to a point where it's like almost crash, and I reflect and look at all the reckless ways I was even acting in that thing, or like not realizing I was almost like such an asshole at certain points, or not even, just like I said, being too reckless. And then I said you get to that point where you just really get depressive, and really just like I sleep more, I don't want to leave the house, all that. Like I don't like feel like I want to like necessarily like kill myself or anything like that. I just am not in the moods, and then like I'm not very responsive to talking and all that. And then when I get back into the Leo moods, get confident and all that, but those are far more aggressive. So that can mean I'm a lot more angry, I'm a lot more hard to deal with. So yeah, it's just, and I don't really know when it happens until it starts. Like I'm in the middle of it. Yeah. So I've gotten a lot more self-aware of it. I had a really bad one a few years ago, and it was like, even online, I was exploding on people and doing way too much. So yeah, it's just, it's like a mood swing kind of thing for the most part. So and it's not a happen at the moment mood swing, it's mood swings that last for a few weeks, and sometimes you aren't really aware of it. So because it is who you are, it's just kind of the extremes of who you are. So
man, is it exhausting?
Yeah, it gets exhausting sometimes. Sometimes it makes me more self-aware, because I realize like, man, like for these 3 months I was just like, I'm not even talking to my family, and I'm like having excuses for why I'm not even doing these things, or like, and then you just realize, man, like I missed so many parts of life. Like it can get exhausting, it can get really annoying, but at the same time, like I'm learning more about it. So there's even times where I know I'm like in the ramping kind of mode. So I've like, if I'm getting an argument with someone, I've kind of realized, all right, you know where this is going, or like just being more attentive to my actual emotions. So it's been helping. I definitely am going to start looking into like actually doing therapy, because I've never done that, and then getting more actual help with this sometimes.
I was gonna ask, like, are you getting help?
Not like, it's such a stigma thing in Black communities.
Is it?
Yeah, like growing up, it was just I'm just a bad kid, or I'm just acting out, you know. And then you don't realize it till there's relationships or like friendships and stuff that you ruin, and you look back and you see the patterns, and you're like, oh no, I only act like that at this time. So we've had this same like a friend, we've had these conversations, and this time I acted completely different. It's like, and I realized it was in this moment. When they talked to me before about it, it was kind of completely different. Or even I might have been more passive. So it's definitely something I want to get more control and hold on. So
but it sounds like you're managing it just by being aware. Are there other things you do to manage it?
Just conversations. I've fucked up a lot of stuff that has made me very aware, and just my family deals with a lot of mental issues. Like I said, it's not talked about much in our family, so that's another reason why I've kind of, I guess, have a better understanding of it, or more comfortable with it, because I see it so much in my household, and then like when I've hung out with my other friends and realizing certain things, or having conversations with other people who've had mental disorders or who are manic-depressives, and seeing all that, and it's like, all right, like, I do need to see somebody to see that. Like before it was just, this is just who I am. Then I was like, all right, this is for real. Then I talked to somebody about, all right, this is what you do have.
Yeah. So you were saying just a minute ago about that there's a stigma. You were saying in the Black community, but you know, I think there's a stigma.
Yeah, honestly,
across the board. Across the board.
Honestly, I agree.
Why do you think that is? What do you think people are afraid of? Why are people afraid to talk about that stuff?
I don't know. I've tried to always wonder that, and I think it's maybe like an ego thing that we just feel like that's not a thing. Because even I think like physical things, we all have some type of physical problems or even allergic reactions to certain things. Yeah. So it's like, why can't we have something that's, I wouldn't even say not normal, or it's just different with our brains. Like sometimes when I think of mental disorders, I don't think of it as like an actual problem. It's just, I'm not educated on my kind of emotions enough, so that's why it's kind of backlashed. And like, yeah, it's like, it needs to be talked about more. I think it is. We live in a world where everything's perfect. So it's just easier to like sweep it under the rug, I guess. Or we have this idea there's a certain mentality that you need to have, and if you don't have that or you don't act this way, then you're labeled a crazy person or an unstable person, where it's really just, I'm just got extreme emotions, really. Yeah. That I just have to learn to deal with a lot better. So yeah.
But maybe if we could communicate more about it, it'd be easier for you to feel like you could get the help you need, and maybe to kind of like even things out for you. And you know, so like when you're in that roller coaster, I'm guessing during the manic times, you're getting tons of shit done. You're painting your ass off.
I'm sleeping 2 hours a day. And that was even the first thing that someone realized is like, you don't sleep. You really, like, she's like, you'll go 6 months where you're not sleeping. You'll get stuff done. You'll get so much done, but you're just really in this mode. And then like I said, I think I can do anything and everything at that moment. And it's just, so then like 3-4 months later, I'm super sick, I'm exhausted, I'm really groggy, I'm very irritated. And then I realized that's like 3 months and I feel shitty about myself. Like, it's just,
well, you were talking earlier about, you know, like the kind of hustle culture that you grew up in and how you're applying that to your art and music. But man, it's hard to hustle when you're in a depressive state, right? Easy to hustle when you're manic.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't even want to leave the house. I have excuses for why I don't want to do that. I'll notice I'm not even attempting as much. It just, and then it's just,
how's that affected your career? It must have.
Yeah, it's affected a lot. That's why I had to step away from the old world, was just because it was just, because I wasn't aware of it so much, I caused so many things where it's like, oh, we're doing so well, and then that 3 months, I don't want to make music. I don't want to do this. I don't really want to go out. We don't have to do this show. And then I know these are great opportunities for yourself. So a lot of that. Or I don't want to work with this person today. And knowing, like, I could show up and make a bunch of music because I can do it, but it's not. Today I just don't feel like it. I'm just going to drop the ball. So.
Yeah. When you are in that downward swing, are you able to some days push through and kind of show up and create?
I've been trying to get better at it. That was really like the main reason for the morning sketches that I was doing on Instagram, was to like, I do try to draw every morning, but when I do get in those things, it's just like, oh, just not. So like having to post something every day was kind of forced me to kind of get out of those habits and being like, oh, it is okay to be in this, like it's not a terrible day. It's just more or less I'm kind of see them as my off days and just learning how to do those better instead of just sulking and
Do you feel like you create different things on those days? Do you write different rhymes? Do you paint different things?
I think I do more of the background stuff a lot better at those times. I think when I'm in like the mag thing, it's everything's done at that moment. And I feel like when it's that, I can kind of reflect and really realize what I was doing. You know, because I just really sometimes live too much in the moment where it's, you're doing way too much. So.
Yeah, man, that sounds tough.
It's wild, but now that being an artist has made my life a lot easier. Having a full-time job was a lot rougher, especially not sleeping and stuff like that.
Right?
Yeah. Going to a job where you haven't slept yet, and then you want to sleep when you're halfway there. And you know,
it's wild. Tough. That's a tough life. Jeez. Where does politics and social justice fit in with your music and your visual art?
I used to be better at it. The last, I think, 2 years, I've been slipping a lot.
What does better mean? Doing it more?
Doing it more, like just more paying attention.
Yeah.
I feel like this last year I haven't paid as much attention as I need to.
To just like what's going on in the world, the
going on, just
headlines.
even locally.
Yeah.
Okay, I could even say that to myself. I would honestly remember when Nikita was running, I definitely paid attention a lot more locally to stuff. So that was another reason, but I feel like I need to do a lot more of that. And that comes too from me seeing the responsibility I'm starting to have more in my community. Yeah. So it is something I feel like I should just be paying a lot more attention to, or just speaking more about. And how you said that's the luxury I do have with being a rapper, is I can say kind of what I want. So I should just use that power a lot more.
Yeah. So is that in the plans for like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely plans.
Do you have some things cooking like that you're saying some shit?
I'm definitely in for. I'm ready to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah. Without giving away too much, what are you talking about?
Just some more representation, more of especially I feel like even with this more of the hip hop community stuff too, is taking more ownership in that, teaching a lot more business stuff too, and just understanding like a lot of the redlining and all the stuff that goes on in the politics and stuff here, and speaking more for that. Like, I used to do a lot more stuff with even boys and girls clubs, and just keeping more people informed about stuff. Like, as an artist, I do even have more time to learn about things. I know that's, my friends used to tell me that you're the friend who informs us on so much stuff. It's like, well, I get to make art every day, so I get to just surf online and do a bunch of research, so just using that a lot more.
Right.
Because for that time, I was using it more to educate myself for art, and like now I've gotten from a cover age with that, so like let's shift a little bit more. Yeah. And I feel like that would help with even finding ways to visually represent my community more if I understood that a lot more too.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, great, man. Perry Porter, thank you for coming through.
Bro.
Yeah. Thanks for chatting with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Cool, appreciate it.